I'm Vaishali Kohli and you're watching NewsX. Now, on the evening of Monday, November 10, a Hyundai i20 with a Haryana registration plate exploded at the Subhash Marg traffic signal near gate number 1 of Delhi's Red Fort metro station. The accident killed 12 people and injured more than 20 others. Several vehicles caught fire following the accident. Delhi police and intelligence agencies intensified the investigation, and initial findings revealed that it was not an accidental explosion but part of an organized terror plot. ATS interrogation revealed that the three terrorists had planned simultaneous attacks in three major cities across the country during interrogation. The arrested terrorists admitted that they had ordered weapons from Pakistan via drones. At the time of his arrest, Saeed was found in possession of 2 Glock semi-automatic pistols, a Beretta pistol and castor oil. Several encrypted telegram chats were also recovered from his phone and laptop, which contain evidence of conversations with Abu Khadija and other ISKP handlers. Authorities say this case is not just a terrorist plot but indicates a plan for chemical warfare. The arrest of the three terrorists has exploded Pakistan-backed modules active in India. Security agencies are now on alert nationwide, and high security zones have been imposed in all major cities. If a poison like Ricin had been spread openly, thousands of people could have lost their lives. I have my guest, Major General Anuj Mathur, defense expert, joining me. Major General Mathur, I want to begin by asking you, has the problem been averted really, or are we still in danger?
Hind, Vaishali. Problem averted is a question which cannot be answered as of now. I'll tell you why. Things have happened. One, it was a much larger plot, and the intention was, as you also covered, was much greater and to inflict casualties in many places. It is not only three have already come out because of the interrogation, but it was a very, very huge plot. That is why 3,000 kilo plus explosive which was stored. What has happened is that we got onto them and caught the web, and we busted the entire event, because of which there was panic. And the panic was that they were worried whether they'll be able to do anything. That is why they had to blast this car in a panic situation, in a hurry, without preparations. There was no proper bomb made out of that ammonium nitrate that they were carrying, and we averted a major disaster. The question is, now, are we done with it, or there are many more things to it? There will be many, many more things to it. The ecosystem which they have created is a huge ecosystem, and that ecosystem needs to be very deliberately and precisely busted. And that ecosystem exists not only in and around NCR Delhi, it exists in many places. That is why we need to be on a very, very high alert across the nation. Second issue which I want to bring out is that an intelligence, I will not call it failure, intelligence laxity probably has taken place. What has happened? Once you caught 2,900 kgs of explosive, there should have been very, very high alert sounded across the NCR, if not across the nation, which probably we failed. And that gentleman could carry so much of ammunition, so much of explosive in his car, and travel through the city of Delhi for 12, 13 hours. Then park himself in a parking lot for another 3 to 4 hours. The fact continues to remain still as long as these people have patronage and guidance and help from Pakistan. The thing will not end. We will have to be very, very careful, and we will have to be on the ball always. Otherwise, they will keep, from time to time, keep doing things like this. The fact is, we will have to strike the source, and the source is across the international border. Now, when you talk of that source, striking a few terrorist camps and this, that, and the other, to my mind, is not going to make that kind of a. Pakistan will get deterred, Pakistan will get hurt only when their army and armed forces headquarters are struck. That is very, to my mind, is a very, very clear issue. So we will have to make sure that we strike the source, we drive them, we starve these terrorists, this ecosystem which is here of the logistics and communications which they get from across, the weapon systems which they get from across, and after that systematically control these people. Vaishali.
Major General, you rightly pointed it out, and that was my next question. I mean, a car with explosives, I mean, security lapses at its best. I mean, do we wait for things to happen and then we think of what the solution is? But even other than that, the forensics were not able to confirm the presence of explosives on site till late in the evening. Even as the Home Minister visited the spot, forensic clarity remained elusive. Teams from FSL, NSG and NIA spent hours sifting through burnt debris and melted metal, yet no definitive traces of RDX were found initially. What do you have to say for that?
Well, you're absolutely right. We have got into a habit of reacting to situations. What we need to do is we need to be proactive. We need to act before before somebody else can do this. So much of explosive getting together at one place, so close to the NCR. I mean, it is unbelievable as to how it can go unnoticed. 2,900 kilograms of ammonium nitrate in a place which is 30-40 kilometers from Delhi. It is unbelievable. So the point is that we always start doing things once something has happened. We need to become absolutely proactive, aggressive, and also innovate. You need to find ways. You see, if there are changes around, I'll tell you a very, very simple way. If there is a drastic change in somebody's living, somebody's style of living, somebody has got some money, somebody is doing this, it is very, very important for you to read. And the reading is that how things are changing. One thing is very, very clear. Pakistan is not going to go back on its policy of bleed India by 1,000 cuts. Now, if those 1,000 cuts have to be inflicted by the Pakistanis, we need to know where, how, when they can do it. Each time you can't do this, that okay, now the blast has happened, now we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that, and that also you cannot do properly. There has to be some accountability. Somebody has to be trained to be able to handle this kind of a situation. To my mind, I'm not questioning any security agency's expertise or this, that, or the other. But the fact of the matter is, as you said very rightly, we have probably been found wanting in the way we could have handled this entire situation. And I can tell you, this blast was surely preventable. One. Two, the further investigations could have been much faster, much better, much smoother, so that we could have nabbed some more people well in time. I'm sure we are going to do it. I'm sure we are going to get some more people. But canvas is much larger, Vaishali. It is not only this much. It is a very, very huge canvas. And now, because of Bangladesh factor getting into it, we will find that these things from our eastern side also, getting a little more impetus. I will tell you one very important thing. There are many students of ours, many students of ours, and more importantly, students from the state of Jammu and Kashmir who are studying in Bangladesh and Pakistan. That is the place where the indoctrinated. Indoctrination is not a thing which can take place in a week or a day or 10 days or 15 days or a month. It takes a lot of, pushing around and a lot of pressure and a lot of training to indoctrinate a mind to the extent that he is willing to blast himself for a cause which is actually not existing. So that indoctrination probably is taking place somewhere there also. Now, if there are 2,000 students studying in Bangladesh in the medical colleges, those out of those 2,000, 5, 7, 10 will surely come back indoctrinated. We need to put a little check there. So what I am trying to tell you, Vaishali, we need to be very, very careful, because this thing is real. This thing is absolutely certain that these things will continue to happen. Pakistan is convinced they can do nothing to India conventionally in any kind of war, including war with weapons of mass destruction. They can do nothing to India. That they know. They have only system, only way to do it is this, and that way to do it is by indoctrinating the youth. Earlier theory of saying, that people deprived and weak, poor, and this, that, and the other, they get lured into it by money. They are not. They were getting salaries $500,000. This China, the lady who's heading the chest in India, $500,000 salary. Where is the question? Where is the deprivation? So the fact of the matter is, we need to identify the factories of indoctrination. And once we identify factories of indoctrination, we need to prevent that. A starvation from those areas from where they're getting their fuel both in terms of physical and mental medicine. So the issue is, we have to be very, very careful, and we have to mend our ways. Having got 2,900 on day one, next day you can't allow 370 kgs of explosive moving around in Delhi for 13 hours.
Now, Major General, all right, I'll come back to you, because I have Brigadier Rajan Jamwal also joining me, who's a defense expert. Brigadier Jamwal, now this is very painful. Innocent lives have been lost. And these are rickshaw pullers. I was reading in the morning, these are rickshaw pullers, people trying to make a living in the city. I read about this person who has a wife and children back home, and he was only just the only surviving breadwinner of the family. But now he is no more. There's so many stories like this that a person reads. I want to move away from the topic and ask you, what about the larger things that we don't look at? We still play cricket with them. We give their actors a chance in the Indian film industry, and then of course we end up banning that film in India. Why doesn't India take a stand when it comes to these things?
You see, there's a national resolve. When 9/11 happened, the US ensured that it doesn't happen again. It was because of the national resolve. They got together, and the kind of violence they unleashed. People call it violence. I call it counter-violence. It couldn't have been possible without what they did. People criticize them for Guatemala, the prisons, everything. But end of the day, they ensured that it doesn't happen again, any time in US. Unfortunately, we have been taught only the first line, that is Ahimsa Paramo Dharam, the second line, which translates into ki, it is always violence to protect yourself is the ultimate duty. That part we forget. Only the half truths we have been told. That is the problem. We have to join together as a nation. Not that nothing has happened. You see, in last few years, there has been a tremendous energy among the intelligence agencies today. Something which was not seen about just 10, 12 years back. Today, there's tremendous energy between the various agencies, the NIA, even the ED Directorate, the local police, various military intelligence, RAW, IB, everything is moving in a synergy, and that is how we could prevent a bigger thing. Probably like what is coming out in the media now is the target was the Red Fort itself. It is just that when the huge quantity of the ammonium nitrate and the other explosives, they were captured, so the small amounts which were left and right, in a hurry, they carried out this blast, not exactly a very well planned blast. This thing, most of the casualties that took place was because of the nature of the explosive, that is ammonium nitrate, which in itself is an incendiary. So the vehicles on a red on a crossing, the neighboring vehicles caught fire, and then they also exploded, and that is how majority of the casualties took place. The kudos to our agencies that they prevented a major thing. You see, one odd thing will always slip away. It will become like a major operation will get degenerated from the terrorist side into a lone wolf operation. Most probably that is what had happened. They panicked or they got instructions. But I'm sure in the coming days, all this will come out exactly who was involved. This thing, after all, this kind of ammonium nitrate, even though it's a fertilizer available in the market, but it is controlled. I mean, even a farmer goes to purchase it, he has to show his land record. He's got a permit. He's only allowed to buy what as per his land holdings. So, and there is a detailed record maintained who has purchased what at every shop. It's a licensed production and licensed distribution. So I'm sure the agencies are already tracking that, and what we have been told is, especially in Mawat area, I mean, that is very close to where the seizures have taken place. This thing is going on, and they have been arresting a number of people who have probably sold off a portion of what they purchased for their crops to these guys. The thing, notwithstanding the other things like the RDX and the weapons which have been recovered, obviously they came through Pakistan. I mean, whether by infiltration or through drone route or whichever route they took, they came from Pakistan, and that is also going to be established. End of the day, this investigation is for us. It is not to give proof to the world. We need not give proof to the world, and especially to Pakistan. But then we, being a moral nation, moment we are clear that this thing has corrections across, the Prime Minister has already said, whosoever it is, he will be. I mean, he will be tackled. And the word is used as उनको उनके अंजाम तक पहुंचाया जाएगा. That the word is used, which absolutely translates, we will give them their due. We'll give them their due. So any time, moment we get a slightest proof of this is going to, I mean, this is how it has happened, and whosoever from across were involved, I am sure the pause button we had put on Operation Sindoor would be lifted. And that is how it should be, because now is the time to walk the talk. We have already said it will be taken as an attack on any terrorist attack on India. It will not be taken as a terrorist attack. It will be taken as an act of war against India. So that is how it should be now. We have to walk the talk, and I'm sure the government and the agencies are working towards it. Yeah.
All right, I want to bring in Colonel V.K. Sahi's defense expert. He was also in the 1971 Indo-Pak War. Now, Colonel, my question to you is, are we headed towards another Operation Sindoor? How do you think India will now retaliate?
Thank you, Vaishali. On the outset, let me clarify a few things. One, it is by no means anything near a lone wolf operation, when at least at half a dozen places in the country, we have found the routes, explosives, weapons, and they have been collected and brought to light from various agencies. 7 to 8 names are already there. They are all doctors arrested in past about a week to 10-15 days period. So by no means a lone wolf. Secondly, all these doctors arrested, 3 of them working at Faridabad in one institution, one laboratory available, where they were processing not only the explosives but also trying to create a poison. It had its roots in Gujarat also. Let me also bring out that these doctors all have come from Kashmir, some from Anantnag, some from other districts. Their handlers are across, and tanzeems, terror tanzeems in Pakistan have been announcing that they would avenge Op Sindoor. They issued certain misleading East mein hoga and kind of nonsense, but we exactly, security agencies were alerted, they were on the lookout, they have been able to nab a few people, and that's one reason that the intensity of what could have happened, like the famous Bombay serial blast, something like that was planned for many major cities of the country together at one time. It's only when the raids started and explosives unearthed, people arrested, that they got into the panic and they wanted to in hurry achieve whatever little they could achieve to please their mentors across the border in Pakistan. Prime Minister, not without any solid grounds, has already declared that it has its connections in Pakistan. Now, Vaishali, coming to your question, how would we react? Well, there are very many ways of doing it. Aerial, it could be from the sea. We already have a hot area in the Sir Creek. It could be beyond that. It could be from the west. It could be even from the west of Pakistan. I think we should leave those options open, and I'll not like to open up a chapter which I think for the time being is under consideration with our policy makers, strategists and tactical scenario team who must be studying this. But then whatever will come down heavy. And whatever come down heavy will not only to these peddlers, maybe they were doctors. Yes, they were doctors, but they are the end result ground troops of the terror tanzeems working for them. We must hit the original preparators which are across the border, who declared this, who have managed this, who have planned this, hired these guys and put them into creating another mayhem. Let us here, Vaishali, not also forget that within our country also we have those Mir Qasims and we have those Jaichans around who must be looking for an opportunity when there is such confusion and mass genocide in the country, to which they can now take a stand. This government is of no good, they have not been able to control it, not been able to check it, and come back to their regime change narrative, which is being strongly funded not only from within but from certain countries who are not happy with the Indian self-respect, with the Indian self-sufficiency, with our plans of running our country the way it suits our country. So those pressure points of the foreign powers who are also not happy with you is not ruled out. So with all that put together, I think our security agencies have preempted it, reduced it, and whatever has come about is sad, it is bad, it is tragic, but probably much, much more has been averted, for which we must give credit to our security agencies. They have probably averted a very big disaster which was looming, which could have happened, which has been prevented. Yes, there is damage. Those 9 or 10 people who have lost their life, their families, I have my sympathies with them. They were brother Indians. They are our own children. I have all the pain for them. Let us help those families whatever way the government can. But at the same time, let us be grateful to the security agencies for whatever they have achieved in containing something which could have been very big and much more disastrous than what has happened. Ji, Vaishali.
I want to bring in Colonel T.P. Tyagi, defense expert. Now, Colonel Tyagi, Ricin is a potent biotoxin with no antidote that inhibits protein synthesis, leading to organ failure. And investigations have revealed that these people were planning to contaminate Temple Prasad in Delhi and Lucknow with it. So, Colonel T.P. Tyagi, Pakistan has stooped so low, it's absolutely shocking. What would you like to say?
Yes, you have already said it is absolutely shocking. This chemical, which has got no odor, which has got no taste, and which has got lethal effect, and some people say that it is even more lethal than cyanide, and they were planning to use it in mandirs, in places of worship, in places where prasad are distributed, in bhandaras and such like places. So this is hitting below the belt. Pakistan is used to do it. This is absolutely shocking. But now I wish to add two things to your previous question, that what we should do now. I have got 3 points. One is, our Prime Minister had said after Operation Sindoor that now we will not wait for the surgical strike. We will do quick strike. Means that if there is a fire in my house, I will not wait for the analysis of the constitution. I will take immediate action. So it is going to be some quick action. Now, quick action depends upon two things. One, whether it was a terror attack or it was a accidental blast. There are enough number of indications which clearly say that it was a terror attack. Firstly, it was carried out by Dr. Umar Nabi. Dr. Umar Nabi was not a normal man. He was involved in a network of doctors. Yeah, I may say it, he was involved in a doctor's jihad. He was involved in that, basically proved. Then he blasted himself. It cannot be accidental. Only thing is that he might have done it little later, what he did little earlier. And then the person involved in this attack was not a Shukla or Chaurasia, means the same Islamic theory which is being repeated again and again and again. Then the FIR has been launched in UPA, means Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The very fact that a FIR has been launched in UPA indicates that it is a terror attack. So it is a terror attack. Here again, our Prime Minister had said that every act of terror will be taken as an act of war, means some action is required. Now that action, we are just waiting to one more thing, that whether it is directly connected with Jaish-e-Mohammed. That also has been established, that Dr. Shaheen from Lucknow, she was the lady chief of recruiting ladies for jihad as per the Jaish-e-Mohammed plan to induct children and ladies into the future activities. So almost it is confirmed that it is a terror attack and it has to be replied. But it is a very serious issue. Can we leave it only to Prime Minister or to the Sarkar or to the government or to the intelligence agencies or police? No. The time has come now to bring out two special points. One is Section 51A of the Constitution of India. It brings out 11 duties for every citizen of India. Has it been told? Is it known to the people? Is it being taught into the school? Now I will say that it should be mandatory to be taught in every school that there are 11 duties, and one of the duties is to be careful about what you see around you, to be careful and to ensure that there is no loss to the public property. This is one. And the second point in short is this, that our Dharam Gurus, they are responsible for this type of situation. It ought not to have happened to this extent. This is because of the Dharam Gurus. Why? Because they teach us love, harmony, concern for others, very good. Tolerance for others, very good. This is good for family. This is good for society. This is good as a part of the individual character. But this is not national character. In the national character, if tolerance is 100% necessary in your family, tolerance should be zero when it concerns the security of the nation. Imagine if Prithviraj Chauhan would not have spared Muhammad Ghori in the very first go, the history of India would have been different. He had no right to accuse Muhammad Ghori. So this thing is to be taught to the youth that please differentiate between individual character and national character. Now this has got to be done as a movement on the mass scale, and we as citizens have to rise to the occasion. Prime Minister, I'm sure that he is going to take a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security soon after return from Bhutan, and I think he must have returned by now. And in that CCS, some action will be decided. But now, after saying everything, I conclude by saying that some action must be taken. Otherwise, it will amount to accepting an insult.
All right, I want to get in Major General Anuj Mathur back. Now, Major General, nobody is taking away from what the security agencies are doing for us every day. But the accused doctors and their students raised funds under the guise of social and academic activities and were in constant touch with Pakistani handlers. And this module has been active for 2 years. Major Mathur, this happens, Major General Mathur, this happens right under our nose. And I mean, there is certainly a lapse somewhere. What do you have to say?
Absolutely, Vaishali. See, first I will take on from where Colonel Tyagi has left. I have a lot of respect for him. That famous Ramayana saying, which was used by DG AO in the briefing also, Bhai bin hoye na pri. Unless you create fear in the minds of the opposites, there can be no peace, full stop. We'll leave it at that. One. Two, as far as this particular thing is concerned, look at the name of the group which these doctors had. Radicalized medicos or something like that. Is it a normal naming of a group? If you have a Telegram group of yours, would you call it radicalized media persons of India causing this, that and the other? What we need to do, it is very, very clear. There is no way other than a proper beating that these things will stop. There is no other way. I can guarantee you, you can keep saying what you want. You can keep doing what you want. Your security agencies can keep doing what they like. But there has to be a system. This ecosystem of the supporters, sympathizers, and helpers of these people who are eventual soldiers of terrorist activities has to be busted. Whether it is a lady in Punjab with a surname which is Indian, Hindu, or anybody else, this ecosystem has been established after work for years. It is not a thing which has come up yesterday, day before yesterday. The policy of 1,000 cuts was given 40 years ago. And for those 40 years, 50 years, they've been trying to create this kind of ecosystem. They are there in your politics, they are there in your bureaucracy, they are there in your medical, you've seen it. And they have infiltrated everywhere. There has to be a way found to decimate this ecosystem. And that decimation of ecosystem can only take place when there is what Brigadier Jambal was trying to say, there is a proper lack of national consensus on when it comes to national security. Even now, even on this, I can guarantee you, Vaishali, there will be people who will be trying to derive political business out of this disaster. Till this time, we have such, I don't want to get into a political kind of a tinge to this discussion, but the fact of the matter is, as long as you do not have a sane, unified voice of political leaders in this country which thinks straight for the national security, for the nation, it is very, very difficult. Even after Sindoor, there were people who were questioning many things. And those questions, let's not get into that. The fact of the matter is, you have to decimate, destroy this ecosystem which has been created over a period of the 3 to 4, 5 decades. And this is there everywhere. Any such thing, why didn't it strike to somebody's mind that how can there be a locker in a hospital for 1.5 years after that fellow has left that hospital, still has a locker? Why didn't anybody try? I'm just trying to tell you that what things needs to be noticed. And the locker has a AK-47 and ammunition and explosive. In a medical college locker, how can there be a weapon and there be ammunition? The canvas, Vaishali, is much larger, and you have to start breaking that. Until such time we break the entire, the web of these people who are sympathizers, overground workers, call them what you will. That has to be broken. And once that thing is taking place, there should be no insane voices which will create noise against that, keeping in mind a particular set of vote bank. Unless that happens, things are not going to improve, Vaishali. It is very, very difficult. I am very clear what I am saying. Absolutely clear that we need to have a particular kind of a thing behind everyone. The nation first thing has to go into. Religion is later. Whatever religion you may be, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, whatever, the nation has to come first, Vaishali, and till the time that happens, I'm afraid you will keep facing such kind of things. One more thing which I had said earlier also, which we need to know. There are people who are wanting India to get entangled into a war, so that India's progress, with which they are not very comfortable, the West, the Soroses, the US, and there are many others who are not happy with India's progress. So they are also wanting to lure India into a kind of a situation where India has to spend a lot of their things which are there used for progress into a situation like a war. We need to prevent that also from happening. So there are many things that needs to be done. Vaishali, my point is, as a whole of the nation approach, all put together, should fight this menace of providing the fundamental ecosystem. I'll just quote one more thing if you allow me to do that. Headley, Thavur Rana, they did Recce in India before 26/11 for 8-10 months. They moved through 5, 6, 7 cities, Agra, Meerut, this, that, and the other. They were provided logistics, they were provided communications, they were provided security. Where was that coming from? It is all there. Vaishali, it is all there in the system. And the voices also which come up, some of these voices are also part of the same system. We have to be very careful. We have to start thinking as a nation, and we need to be very sure that it has to be nation first approach. Vaishali.
All right, I'll request our guests to stay on with me. I'll just go to the breaking news and come back. Now, security forces personnel have continued to be at the spot where a blast occurred in a Hyundai i20 car near the Red Fort on 10th November. Visuals from the spot show increased security presence in India. So now, of course, I'd like to go to Brigadier Rajan Jamwal, defense expert. Brigadier Jamwal, now the security, of course, has been heightened in many cities in India. Do you think that the risk is completely averted, or should we stay vigilant? How do you see this progressing?
Obviously, we need to stay vigilant. The risk is never fully averted, because if there was one guy with the little explosive who got away from the main net, there could be similar others. So we got to stay absolutely vigilant. Now, coming to the point, just taking forward what General Mathur was saying, I look at, a lot of people get surprised. How come the doctors, engineers, educated class, they are into this terrorism and all? I look at it as a generational indoctrination. Like you said, it started 40 years. I say it started right after 47. It was just given a name, the bleeding by thousand cuts, just 40 years back. But it started right out of 47. And there's this generational indoctrination has resulted in this radicalization. Now, once a person has been taught in his home, his school, his wherever he goes, a particular way of life, a particular line of thinking, which actually originates from 1932. Madhudi, if you remember, the book he wrote, the translations he wrote, the whole, the Southeast, Asian, this brand of Islam, it actually started in 1932. Everything flows from there, and then, whole lot of things came into existence. If you go to now, the problem is how do you de-radicalize? It is easier said than done. I'll tell you the starting point, because where does it start from? It starts from the religious place. Like guy goes, prayers, he is given a different interpretation. And there are radical speeches. Now we have a beautiful act, that is Misuse of Religious Places Act 1988. I don't understand why we're not using it. Of course, in 88, it was, when it was enacted, that time Punjab was on the boil, so it was basically meant, but now's the time to use it. The act very clearly states, if any anti-Indian or any political speech is given from a religious place, it is the duty of the head of the religious place to inform the nearest police station within 24 hours who has said what, and based on which the police will register an effort further. If that does not happen, the police is bound to close that place of worship. And it doesn't mention any place of worship. It would apply to masjid, mandir, gurdwara, any place. Why are we not using it? Because the starting point is there. We have to close that. The second is addressing the educational system. We have already done, some work is going on in UP and few isolated places, even in J&K, some places in this thing. We are trying to modernize the madrasas. We are trying to, close down the institutions run by organizations like Jamaat-e-Islami, funded by them. But that is not enough. We need to go more. You see, the de-radicalization drive, it cannot be only on paper. It has to translate into ground. Yes, we have been, throwing out people now and then, especially in J&K, who have, in government service. But you won't believe the indoctrination, the infiltration is so deep. Especially in J&K, which I have I know about it. It runs across the civil society. It's not only doctors and engineers, even government servants, senior government servants, your own media, businessmen, outrightly involved. They are overnight trying to turn white now. In J&K especially, if you just look at financial history of most of the people, somebody before 90 who was selling eggs today has got, malls in Dubai and all. It is not that difficult to this thing. It's not that, like I said, our intelligence agencies are working. They are working hard and there is tremendous synergization. But Pakistan has an advantage over us. What's that advantage? While we are coordinating between the various agencies, they have one agency, ISI, which physically controls other agencies. Their intelligence bureau, their military intelligence, and all other agencies are subordinate to one agency. So it is a concerted approach. Now you will agree with me that coordination is more of a tricky business than control. That's exactly what we need to do. We talk about theaterization of commands. I think we should carry out theaterization of intelligence. That is the need of the hour. The theaterization of intelligence needs to be done. Everything against Pakistan should be one theater, one intelligence theater, under one various agencies, various assets, all technical assets, human and everything. One coordinated effort, which controls all effort. Similarly, for the other parts. So theaterization of intelligence is what I have been saying for quite some time. And I'm sure the government is now moving towards it. Of course, we have this turf wars, this thing, and even apart from all the synergy we had achieved and the whole lot of coordination in the last 10, 12 years, it is not a substitute for control. It is not a substitute for that centralized direction you can give to your agencies. It is not a substitute. So we have to move forward. These reforms have to take place. And I'm sure in the coming days you will see some of this happening. I'm a little passionate about it, but that's it, because I see it every day. You see, I see it in, I just came back day before from Kashmir. I spoke to a whole lot of people. You see, what is happening? It is happening is a guy who was with the ISI, everybody knows that chap. Today he goes under shelter of one agency. The agency thinks he's my asset, and it tries to protect it from other agencies. So this all has to stop. This all has to stop, and this is the only way forward for us as a nation. Yeah, Vishali.
You know, Colonel V.K. Sahi, I'd like to bring you in, but viewers, just to bring this into perspective, every Indian's blood is boiling today. And of course, we need a complete solution to this, because Colonel V.K. Sahi, I was listening to the eyewitness accounts yesterday. It's blood curdling to hear things like, you're hearing of a hand somewhere, a body part flung somewhere. These details are so disturbing and should make every Indian angry, of course. Now, Pakistan is a country that doesn't think before it acts. Clearly, the bomb was not completely developed. They acted out of frustration because those explosives were recovered from Faridabad. India is not that country. It's an intelligent country that thinks before it acts and plans its attacks. Now, my question is that when it comes to Operation Sindoor, of course, we did it at the right time. We planned it at the right time. But as a defense expert, do you think that we should take one strong step against Pakistan, or should we wait and retaliate according to how they retaliate? Because clearly, Brigadier Colonel V.K. Sahi, they are not learning their lesson, and this is a problem.
Thank you, Vaishali. I entirely agree with the idea of a strong punitive action. We don't have to wait, and we don't have to learn the Pakistani ways. We know how to strike. We know how to strike like soldiers. But here, before I proceed on this, I would like to strengthen what has been spoken by Brigadier Jambal. State of J&K has enjoyed a special status for a very long time. Very many special things have been happening here. And these special things have allowed things to go to what we are harvesting today. These doctors, they all have their roots in Kashmir. In Kashmir, Vaishali, let the audience know, there was a system past 30-35 years or so. We had a tanzeem going as Hurriyat. And Hurriyat will pick up young boys who had qualified madrasa and stone pelting cadres, practice stone pelting, and recommend them for doing their MBBS in specified enemy countries like China, Pakistan, also Bangladesh. Now these medicos will go there, spend 5 years learning medicine and getting thoroughly radicalized. The man who was experimenting with that poison to pollute the prasad and create genocide was a medical officer, a doctor qualified in China. Similarly, dozens of doctors have been sent to Pakistan. Will Government of India take a call at it? In the whole big world, do we have to send our youth only to enemy countries to get their medical certification? Why in Pakistan? Why in China? Why on the recommendation of God bless his soul, he is no more, Ali Gilani, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani. He gives a letter, fellow goes with his passport to Pakistan, gets a visa, he is there in Pakistan for 5 long years, back with an MD, and start gets a job back into any hospital in the country. And what he does is keeps a AK-47 in his locker. Is that is acceptable to government? Is that acceptable to the nation? Is that acceptable to any law-abiding citizen? Is that acceptable to any Indian for that matter, Vaishali? We have been working our way to create these demons. We have facilitated these demons. And that is what we are reaping today. Doctor, what a pious job, supposed to be saving human lives, is involved in creating this mayhem? Is this genocide? Is that the ethics of the medicos? But then we have worked our way. We have allowed it to happen. And I agree with the Brigadier Mathur. Now there is a time we should synergize these security agencies. We should cut out all this differences between them, and for heaven's sake, the political communal appeasing, which is permitting special facilities to certain people in the country who are growing into these devils and demons, creating what they have created. Thank God and thank to the security agencies, it was nipped in time. It could have been a very devastating nation-wise attack at multiple places. Let me once again remind about the serial blasts of Bombay. Maybe the whole North India would have faced that. And answer doesn't lie on only acting against these individuals. They are just the ground workers. We have to hit hard, and we have to hit hard where it is all planned, and that is across the border, and that is what the PM has hinted. That is what the Raksha Mantri had also said, that we have to go to the preparators. Anybody who is facilitating it, anybody who's planning it, anybody who's funding it, they are all in one line. They're all killers, they're all terrorists, and they're all guilty equally. And the nation must come down heavy on them. I also agree with Kantyagi, what he said. There will be people who will try to draw political mileage out of it. Maybe the aim behind all this may be a political agenda. There may be international players not happy with our getting into the fourth financial status in the world, not happy with our not accepting the agriculture products from America, not happy with our purchase of oil from Russia. Those guys may also be equally behind this. And rightly said, then we are the Mir Jafars and Chechens within the country who call for foreign intervention in our country. So it is a very big game, it is a very vast game, it's a very critical and a dangerous situation, and each Indian has to stand together, each right-minded nationalist has to stand together. We have to all work, and we have to work to our fundamental duties as said by Kantyagi. Each one has to keep his ears and eyes open. Each one of us has to join together, join this war against Bharat. The war is against my tricolor. The war is against my country. The war is against my nation, and each Indian has to think in those terms. It's not just the security forces and the belt forces, and we get done with it either by blaming them or by praising them. Not enough, we got to join them. Vaishali.
Very well said, Colonel V.K. Sahi, because it is our responsibility as well. It's not just the security forces that we're talking about, viewers, because God forbid It could be me, it could be you, it could be a loved one in that bomb blast. And imagine the pain of somebody who's lost a loved one. I want to go across to Colonel T.P. Tyagi, defense expert. Colonel T.P. Tyagi, I want to bring Donald Trump in, and the reason for that is because he's taken credit for Operation Sindoor as well. But do you think he will intervene this time and tell Pakistan to back off?
Okay, I will answer it. Before that, I must thank Colonel V.K. Sahi for bringing out and explaining more in detail that it is the responsibility of everyone and their duty, that is Section 51A of the Constitution of India. It should be taught in every school. It will not take more than about half an hour every day, and that will change the scene. Second thing, he is a decorated soldier. I wish to request you that kindly add BRC in my name also. I am also a recipient of the National Gallantry Award of Vichakra. So now last time also in Operation Sindoor, he did not beg Pakistan. He begged Pakistan afterwards, after Operation Sindoor. And now, in case we take any further action, he is unlikely to be with Pakistan. He may remain neutral. Reasons are, first reason is that importance of India is far more in terms of politics, in terms of economy, in terms of strategic position, and in terms of the reckoning in the hierarchy of the international community. As compared to Pakistan, to India is much more. Second thing, he has realized that whatever Pakistan, that so-called Field Marshal Munir, has promised him, actually they are imaginary. Because if he extracts the mines, if he extracts the antimony, the gold and silver and rare earth from the Balochistan, there are two things. One, Balochistan are not permitting China to do it. Second, even if it is done, it will take another 10 years. And what will happen in another 10 years? Whether Pakistan will remain on the face of the earth or whether it will go. So there are so many uncertainties and inanities involved
Colonel
in it.
T.P. Colonel Tyagi, I'll just have to